Hi everybody, it's Cassie from Creatively Cass. I'm back with another card today for Butterfly Reflections Inc. I decided to make a Halloween card for today featuring these cute little animals from the Party Animal set from Lawn Fawn. And I'm going to stamp them on some Nina Solar White cardstock. This is 80-pound cardstock. I'm using it because it works really well with my Copics and it doesn't bleed as much as a lighter weight cardstock would. So I'm going to grab those little animals and put them on the paper and close my door and stamp them up with some Memento Tuxedo Black ink. This too works really well with Copics. It doesn't bleed, it doesn't smear, it makes your images look really good. So I used that and I stamped them twice just to make sure they were crisp. And now I'm going to get into the coloring of the animals and the coloring of their little costume pieces. So I'm going to turn on some music here and I hope you enjoy. Alright, so I'm on to my accessories here for these little animals, and I just wanted to mention all of the footage of me coloring the deer had my head mostly covering it, so I'm so sorry that that got cut out. But I wanted to also mention that sometimes when I'm coloring, I start with my darkest and move to my medium and then my lightest color, and sometimes I start with my lightest. There's no real rhyme or reason to it, basically it's just whatever feels right for those colors, because sometimes some colors blend easier than others, and once you kind of get a feel for your Copics, you know those things. So that's, like I said, there's no real rhyme or reason, just personal preference there. So I'm finishing these up, and I had stamped a couple of those costume pieces, the Frankenstein hair and the eye patch, which I decided not to use in the end, but I left the coloring in just for consistency, I guess. And all the colors that I used for these little costume pieces, the black colors, I used my warm grays. So my warm gray 7, warm gray 5, warm gray 3, and warm gray 1. So that's a good way to get a image that looks like it's black without just coloring it straight black. You get a nice highlight there. And I did that on quite a few of these images. The little hook, I just did a little bit of tan, and then for the metallic part, I did a cool gray, I believe. Next, I'm grabbing some of my Lawn Fawn stitched rectangle die, and I don't remember exactly what they're called, the border die, or not the border dies, that squiggly one, that right there. I don't remember what it's called, I'll have to look it up. And just a cloud die there, and I'm creating my scene for my trick-or-treaters. I accidentally had my die over the edge, so I had to back up and redo that. So what I'm going to do here is mask off where my moon is going to go. There's something about Halloween time and Distress ink moons that I just love. I can't stop doing it. I feel like all of my Halloween cards have them, and I just love them. So what I do is I die cut that circle and use it as a mask, and I started with my Distress Oxide Broken China blue closest to the moon, and then I went to Faded Jeans, and in a second here I'll be adding Black Soot, and that's just to darken it up and make it look a little bit more like a night sky as opposed to being bright. It looks a little blotchy here on camera, but I'm going to spray it with my Distress ink, so I wasn't too worried about getting a super nice blend. And then I used the outline of that circle and used it so that I could make the moon, and I used fossilized amber for that one. And I'm just spritzing some water on there with my paintbrush. I found lately that I really like to do this technique as opposed to my Distress sprayer, just because you get kind of a more fine mist than such splotchiness that the Distress sprayer has. And then I missed this part. I did frayed burlap on the cloud and peeled paint and twisted citron on the grass piece. And I'm going to stamp and emboss my sentiment on the cloud. And I'm using the Happy from one of the scripty word sets. I will have that in the blog description. And I'm going to use that and heat emboss some gold embossing powder over it. It looks so pretty in the end with that frayed burlap for the cloud. I was a little iffy about doing the frayed burlap for the cloud just because that's not really typically a cloud color, but I wanted to kind of keep with that like night sky. I didn't want it to be too bright. You know, usually I would do blue or something, but I wanted it to be a bit darker. And I liked how that turned out. So next, I think I'm off camera for part of this, but I took a scrap of black paper and I'm just stamping the word Halloween from the Booyah stamp set, which is where I got all those little costume accessories. And I'm stamping it on the black with Versamark ink, and I'm going to heat emboss white embossing powder and then trim that down so it's just a little strip that can go with my Happy in the clouds there. And I'll heat emboss it so that that melts, looks nice and glassy, and then, like I said, trim it down. Sorry, a lot of this I got off camera. I'm using a new camera and I'm not quite used to the setup for it, so a couple of technical difficulties going on there. I started putting things together, trying to figure out where I wanted that Halloween to go. And given all those little guys their costumes. And then I took them all off anyways because I decided it needed a little bit more. So I grabbed my Gonzai Tombi watercolors and just took some of the white paint and some water and did the same exact thing that I did with the water, the plain water, and just spritzed it all over. And I really like the depth that this gave. Kind of made it look like stars in the sky, but I also liked it on the grass and the clouds too. And then I used my heat tool and I just I let it all dry up so that I could do the black, because otherwise that would have been a muddy mess. Next, I'm going to pop up the clouds and the ground with my foam tape. My foam tape roll is getting really low. It's big enough that I don't feel like I need to buy it quite yet, but it's low enough that you get nervous. I'm sure a few of you know what I mean. I'm going to add my Halloween sentiment with some foam tape as well. And then I got the little animals how I wanted them, so I wanted to take a picture so I wouldn't forget, because I keep taking them off and putting them on, because I keep thinking, oh, I need to add this. So I took one of the stars from the Booyah set, and I decided that there just needed to be some stars in the sky, some actual stars, and that gold was so pretty, I just wanted to add that in there. So I heat embossed those, and they ended up looking really nice. So now I've got that picture there, and I can refer back to it and get the placement pretty much the same. I ended up stamping, coloring, and cutting some little treat bags for those guys, and also a little balloon, word balloon that said boo. I just felt like it needed a little bit more Halloween accessories in there. So they looked like they were trick-or-treating. And then the fox and the bear are both being put down, just glued down to the grass piece. I did put a little foam behind their head because that grass is popped up, so they'll need a little support there. And then the deer, I used foam tape just to give a little more dimension and just to pop him up a little bit. So then I had to double the foam tape on his head so that he also had some support. And then I just added their little treat bags and the little boo. I just love those little treat bags. They're so cute. And now I'm just going to make my card base. This is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 card. And I used my Tombow Extreme adhesive to attach it to the base. I'm going to use some glossy accents to just kind of add some shine to some of the pieces here. I added it to all of their eyes and noses as well. And that is pretty much it for the card. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I hope you enjoyed the card today. I hope you're having a great day, and I'll see you guys again soon with another card. Thank you. Bye.